up to this point, we have seen an example of how database actually work. Like when we went to this of the admin site and this of the when we go to /admin, and then we're able to get this kind of beautiful UI that Django tends to provide for us, that we can actually add user, create user, and then the whole lot of other things that will check out other information that user tend to have. And for example, this of the Ezee keys 2027, we actually created this guy. This guy was actually the super user that can log into that of the admin site. Other users are more like when somebody went to our website and then try to log into or to register to be a member of our website, and then it will be given a few permission, which is just an active permission. So but this super user that we created is more like the other information. And then when we look at this other information that a particular user have, like this of the email, the password, the first name, last name, email address, and then these are more like we can say default entry that Django can provide for each of the users. So in this, remember that in our case, we're actually trying to create a blog page. So we need to actually we need to actually create our own models that can allow users to actually add content, maybe the date and a whole lot of other things. So that's what basically we'll be doing. So let me just let me just leave it here. Let's just go to our Django project. So instead of this of the app that we have, this is our blog page. You can see a file named models.py. When we click on this models.py, it's going to tell us to create your models here. This is really simple. So the first thing we want to do is that since we have actually Django have actually provided this model imported some few models for us, so we need to actually use some other models also. This is actually called users. Think of this users model that Django already provide for. Think of it more like container. Just think of it more like we can think of it like we're able to get any registered user on our site. All the information concerning a particular registered on our site by making use of that of the user models. This user model is really useful. Help us to do a whole lot of things like lessen our code that we need to actually write. But let us try see example. When we do a command line by making use of this user, we can see that we can actually deliberately get all these this user Ezee keys and this John get actually on our side that we can see. If we do create more users, we can get all these guys that of the CLI when we start doing database command. So to import the user model that Django tends to prepare for us is actually from this of the our Django.contrib contrib.auth.models import the user. So simple as let me get rid of this. So since we have actually imported user, with this we help all this user, we can actually get a whole lot of information, and we can actually grab all the user that is being created on our web page, and then we can actually query information and assign and do a lot of them with those of the users. So in our case, the first thing we want to do is actually to create our own model. So if you want to watch my previous video when we did the basic task manager website, make use of Django, make sure to check it out, because if you didn't do that, this is going to be can be really confusing for you. So what we're going to create is actually our own models now, because we know that we're trying to build a blog website like how we can see here. And then when we go to a website, a user when a user want to post an information, the user must have an introduction, and this is the content, and this is the date added, and this is the username of the user, and this is the image. So in this way, we are going to actually create the way information is going to be structured on that of the website. So this is going to be I'm going to create a class. I want to give it name post, because it's actually a friend that want to post a particular content. Remember that this post can give it any name of your choice. So we're going to use that of the model. So we're actually inheriting from this of the models property that Django tends to provide for us. So instead of this of the model, so we're going to specify a whole lot of things that was a particular author that I want to create a particular content to have, because what we're actually interested, the few fields that we're interested in, this of the title, the content, so and this of the date added, and then the author, the person that actually created the content. Like we can see on this of our views by this already a few information that we're actually interested in. So it's more like a few input field we are going to actually create. I can see that they have the author, the title, the content, and date are there. So we're going to specify that. So we will stop making use of this dummy data that we have here. So the first we want to have is that of the author. So we're going to say models or what? Models dot what? Foreign key. Foreign key. Then we're going, the first parameter is going to be that of the user and that of the what? On delete going to be models going to be models dot what? Cascade. So what does this line actually signify? Like we saw in this one, I've used the like the dummy data will actually the author is actually the person that actually made the post, like also from this guy, because it is a good idea when you specify that the author, because when somebody logged in and they made a post, the author should be that person that actually created that of the post. You can say you that's having a particular post you posted on a website, maybe on a blog website you posted the content, you that posted it have to be an author of that post. So, and then when you go to a particular website and make a post, you can create 100 posts, thousands of posts, but you're still going to be one person. So this is what's actually happening here. Author is going to be, and this foreign key is signify that one mini post can be assigned to one person, meaning that you that is the author, this foreign key is just trying to say that one to many, meaning you that is the author can create multiple posts. So let's actually see an example of that. Okay, let's actually create other entry field. Then we are going to look at a few you can see a basic example for us to actually understand what is actually happening in this other post model. So the next thing we are going to have is this of the title, because when we want to create a content, you must have a title. You can see this of the model dot this character field. Character field there. You can also have some other something that I can also assign to, like this for the mass length. The mass length, okay, this is supposed to be underscore. The mass length is going to be 100, which is the title here. The mass length, like the length of the character should not exist on, should not be more than, should not exceed 100, which is cannot be more than 100. I don't see the title that I'll be writing that should be up to 100 characters. So the next one to also put that of the content. This content is where I'm going to actually write your content. So we're going to make use of this of the models that Django going to provide for us. We're going to say these models do what? Test field. This website, and then I'm gonna try to log into the website that we're trying to build. This is the website that we're trying to build, and this is where we are currently on our own. So if I want to exit from this admin side, we can just go back to our home page. So, and this website we're trying to build. So let's just actually log into and see some of the things that we're actually trying to create here. So let's go back. So remember that we created a particular login information, which was that of the Ezee kits. I think that was 2027, and then the password was testing. So yeah, that should be testing 1 2 3 4. So let's actually log in. Then we can view what the actual code is of the post model that we have been actually trying to create all this while. We can see that we actually logged in successfully. This is talking about I logged in successfully. So let me try to create a post. This post we're trying to create is actually that of the post model that we're actually trying to create. So everything that we can see here, the title, the content, and the author is you that is actually been logged in here. And then this is the title, this is the content. So we're also going to have that of the date added. So this is basically the way information is going to be stored on a database. And you can see that when we go back to home page, when I mean that and the particular author can have multiple posts, you can see here this Peter 20549 have this post. Also this new user 20541 have this post. So you can also have a whole lot of posts. Like, and this is over 4 posts. So you can go to next. You can see that the particular content can have a huge number of posts. You can see that these are basically what this foreign key does. Just help to each particular user can have multiple posts. So, but we're also going to go more in depth with an example or with just a basic graph example. So it will be easier for us to understand. So the next one we're going to add is that of the date on that was posted. Remember that I can give all this name any name of your choice. So the post, the date is going to be the date that content was actually being added. You can see date of the August, blah blah blah. The date was actually added. So it's not almost all these guys must actually set it. So I'm going to head from that of the models to what date. Sorry, that should be date field, daytime field. That should be daytime field. A whole lot of classes that exist here. So we're going to let the way that the date is being stored to be automatically, because there's no way somebody, maybe a particular user, want to make a post and then enter the title, enter the contents, and then you're expecting the person to enter the dates that he or she created it. But I think that should be auto-generated automatically. I think that going to make more sense. So we're going to set some other parameter that I say, which is actually auto now add. So a whole lot of them, as you can see there, can select and then test to actually see the one that actually fit your choice. So I'm going to just to set it to true. I think with this, I've actually written our post model. So there's also another thing that we can make use of. By make use of what is actually called under STR. This Dunder or STR, the main function of this Dunder STR, which is this dev underscore STR underscore we're going to have set. Therefore, this when we are making use of that of the command line to actually look at some of the database commands, this is going to help us to actually display the information the way we actually expect it, rather than giving us kind of information be in a manner that would tend to find it hard to actually understand. So let me give this a little bit space. So anytime I talk a particular content, a particular post that somebody made, I want the information to be actually be given to me in form of that of the title as the subheading. So I'm going to say the saved or title. Also said maybe that of the content. So if you are still getting it confused, don't worry. When we do that of the command line commands, we're actually going to understand this really well. So I'm going to actually comment this guy out, and then we're going to put it back to actually see the effect that is actually taking. So since we have actually made changes to this of our models up here, we need to actually migrate this model our website again. So that's just basically what we're going to do. So to do that, we need to actually stop our running server, which is Control C, and next we are going to do is that of the made changes to this of our models.py. Right now, what we need to do is actually to go to our we want to actually prepare our database. We need to actually structure our database, because the way the database is being structured, that is not actually what we expect. So for us to actually do this, to attach what to the model that we actually created, we need to actually run that or the make migration, and then we are going to this make migration is going to actually prepare our database table to actually take effect, and then when we run migration, it's going to actually implement that. So today we are going to be python.py make migration, and then we're going to hit enter. So in case if you're wondering how I did it, just to hit arrow key or up arrow key, then we're going to get it. And I can see that this will get on a blog page migration initial by create model pool. Remember that when we run this migration, make migration initially, what we actually got was no changes detected. So let me just scroll up so we can actually see this. I think that should be somewhere down here. That's quite fast actually. But we get something like no changes were actually detected. That's because we didn't actually create any, we didn't actually create our own models.py. So now I've actually have our own 001 initial. This actually prepared our database. So if we go to our blog page migrations and say migration, we're going to have this 001 inside of it. So let's actually view this. You can see that this is actually trying to prepare our, I can see this is it, which is our ID. The ID is going to be generated automatically. The content, like what we said, the character fit to be a max length of 100. Out of the content, sorry, that was the title. This is the content, text field, date posted. You can see it's going to be auto generated, and that of the author is actually foreign models or ForeignKey. And also, well, with this extra parameter, what I said, so this of the author, which is on delete models the cascade, meaning that when a particular author is deleted, I don't think any of the content should be useful on the website. You can also wipe out that of the content. Like when we go to somewhere here, sorry, this is where our admin. Let me zoom this a little bit more. Then for this example, this Ezee key is 2027. Okay, so our server is now actually up and running. This was still doing some other things. So when we delete a particular user, like I wanted to show, but our server is not running, so the content, every information relating to that user had to be actually be deleted. So this is actually our preparation for our database to actually structure the way that database is actually being structured. So to make this to actually take effect, you can also view the SQL code that is going to be run anytime you run it. It's basically simple. We're going to do a Python manage.py. We're going to have SQL migrate. That should migrate, and then we're going to give it our app name blog. Our app name was blog page, and then our migration number. This is our migration number. Is 0001. Okay, 0001. Simple as that. So let's actually see what we get. So as you can see here, the information we got down. This is more like the SQLite code that's going to be run, which is just create table blog page post. ID is going to be an integer, not primary key. Endorsement, and then title, reference, author, a whole lot of other information. These are more like SQL code that's going to be run. So, but as of now, we're not really interested in that. So what we want to actually run is Python manage.py migrate. So it's actually we want to actually do is actually to run Python manage.py migrate. So this is what else of it what they're going to do. Otherwise my server is being messed up. So let's actually go to our manage.py run server again. Manage.py. Remember that this is one of short way to actually shortcut to actually write this to run our server. Remember that we'll actually use a whole lot of data Django sub commands, like how we saw at the beginning of this video. Now we're going to make use of this make migration. What we're going to use this of the migrate. So we've actually used a whole lot of them. So let's actually Python manage.py migrate. That's the command we're going to, which is migrate. So it's migrate. Simple as that, and then we're going to hit enter. Okay, you can see apply all migrations, admin auth blog page, content type section, running migration, applying blog page, 001 initial, everything run successfully. So now we can actually start our development web server again to actually see that take effect on our admin page. So if we are to run this right now, and we're not going to get it viewed on our admin page, the reason is basically simple. Okay, let's go back. We have not actually registered our out to our WP. Let me actually zoom this back so it will look a little bit better. So let's actually go back to our main do directly, and then let's go back to that of the admin, because I don't know why the password is no longer working. So we can say testing. So this was Ezee keys 2027, and then the password was actually testing 1 2 3 4. Let's actually try to log in again. Please enter correct username and password for staff account. Know that both fields may be case sensitive. This is actually the password I've been making use of for this one. I wonder what all of a sudden it became case sensitive. This is Ezee keys 2027 password is still the same thing. I wonder why we're having this issue. I forgot that the password actually testing 1 2 3 4 5. That's testing 1 2 3 4 5. That's just actually testing 1 2 3 4. So let's actually see whether this will actually take effect. As you can see, we're able to log in successfully, and then we'll go to that of the users that we currently are also going to have that users that is available. No any extra information was actually being added. So what we're going to do is actually to register our models that we actually created. To do this, we are going to go to that of the admin panel. So this is the migration. This is that of the admin. Here is going to tell register your model. See, because if we don't do that, it's not going to show up live, because we created a post model but it's not showing up here. So to actually register our model is basically similar. So this will be back. Let me be back. This is okay. Okay, no, it's too much. So so to register our model is basically simple. I'm going to make use of this admin that Django already provided for us. So it's going to be admin.site.register. to be register. What we want to register is going to be our post model, but there's still a problem here now. In case we haven't actually imported out of the post that we actually want to register, because this is the post model that I want to actually register. So we're going to come to this on top of here. Let me just bring this down. So we're going to say from our what, from our dot models. More at this dot model, say this dot signify that since they're in the same folder, I think instead of me saying from blog page import, from blog page the models import, this dot is going to make things simple for me. So I want to import what? Want to import our what? Post. Simple imported. And let's actually go back to our website to see this, whether this actually took effect. So this is our admin panel. Let's actually reload it again. So why am I now having that? Okay, so if we go to the home page, we are going to get this post. You can see blog page, and we can see the post here. So when we look at this post, we can see nothing really much. Let's say we're interested in creating a new post. When we click on this add, it will tell us to to specify the author, the title, and the content, because that was actually what we specify on this of the model. Take a model like the information is going to be stored on our database. Now you can see that we can assign this option that we are told to select a particular author. We can start to select any particular author. So let me just select this easy keys. Let me give it title. You can say easy keys first title. So this is actually making sense, but let's actually have the idea. Easy kid first content. So say easy kid first title on admin panel. So when we start creating our order, these guys will have get it messed up. So let me just zoom this a little bit back. Let me zoom it once. Okay, so I can save and continue. This is basically when a person will go to our website. This is more like information we're going. So anytime somebody creates a post, we're going to set it to actually have the author that currently logged in, and then the title is where you are done writing your title, not all the content is going to be saved. So you can see, let's go back on this our post models to actually have, then we have a post, and we have this a post by a particular content, which was this easy keys. So we go to easy keys, we have the content that's actually being posted by easy keys. So we're actually going to get this really to be better. We'll go to that of the command line, so actually do some of all these. Remember that, like I said, when we this return save the title, when we go back to our website, you can see that easy keys first title on admin panel was actually being shown here. So let's actually change it to that of the content to actually see that if it change. So let's actually reload the page again. Okay, let's just hold on. The web server is still trying to boot up, so let's just wait for it. Okay, so I boot up successfully. Let me reload this. Okay, you can see at them easy keys first content admin, and instead of before it was showing title. But if you are still getting it confused as we go on, you still get it simple for it. But I like using make use of that of the title, because the title is not too long. In sure by your content can be more like thousands of pages. I don't think for showing as the first option is actually the best choice. So and the next we're going to do, we want to look at some of database command, because right now we don't really know what the some queries that will be running in this of the views pipe, because when you understand that of the models or can see database commands, so it will be easier for you to actually understand it's easier for you to understand some of the commands that we're going to run on these views.py. So I think that's basically what we're going to do next. So the first step, we are going to quit this of our server that is running currently, and then after that, so we're going to run Python shell. Remember that all these commands that we're going to, all these commands that we're using is what Django provides for us. There's no any magic that I've actually been doing. I think we have actually used this make migrations, migrate. Next we are going to use the shell. We have used SQL migrate, we have used startup, we have used start and project. Where's that out of the run server? A whole lot of them. Let's actually scroll down. Where is that run server? That guy actually had to see at times. Run server, so use a whole lot of Django sub commands here that Django tend to provide for. So that's what we're going to use that of the shell. We're going to import this of the post model and that of the user model that we actually have. So let me stop our server from running. Let me drag this up so we can all see really well. I want to actually explain more on this of the foreign key, like I explained what is actually doing here. So let me make use of this on one note to actually explain it. Let's say I have a table, because information on that of the website is going to be that of a table type of format. So it's going to be 5 by 2. Would that be okay? Let me just use this for explanation, for simple explanation purpose. Let me drag this a little bit. So let's say the first content, because the first table or the first title on the table is going to be that of the ID, like we saw earlier, and then the second is can signify that of the what, the author. The author is the person that actually have that of the post, and then these are other information, that maybe a post model that somewhere someone is trying to actually create a particular post, because a post, sorry, not actually a post, we have the author, the ID, and this title, content, and data that is going to be inside another table. The reason is because when somebody can create multiple content, like that's what this foreign keyboard is going to have one particular author. So this is more like a I say post. This is a post table. So let's say an example ID, and the author that actually created the post was that of the Ezee keys, for example, and then the post that the person actually made. When we go back to admin side, you can see, so click on this. Okay, so this is actually not running. Come on. So well, let's just actually have a glimpse of it. So here, inside of here, is as if there's another table that's going to be inserted inside of here. It's going to be another table. You can say the first one is going to be title, the second one is going to be that of the content itself, and third one is going to be date underscore posted. So you can see that inside of this table, the first title was that of Ezee keys. Ezee keys, I think that was Ezee keys first title admin panel. Yeah, and the content was Ezee, that was Ezee keys. Let's copy this. My logo and Ezee keys first content. Let's assume the date that it was being posted. You can say 12 January 2027. I see that I head on to create more and more content. Like this was basically an example of the content that we made. Say this evening. You can say second. Let me just copy this for that of the paste. This is going to be content and the date that the post was actually being created. Remember that this is not how it's actually basically being stored, but it's just going to give you maybe a simple example, a ideology to how this actually works. I see that the ID, each user is going to have a particular ID. ID is never going to change. So I'd have that of the author and that of the post that we're actually trying to create. You can see that one user can have multiple posts. You can see before the content there can be actually be completed, everything information that other MP field must be correct before that to actually take effect. So let's say this is actually only content that this Ezee keys, so this 2027 actually created. You can see that if you want to actually create more and more, let's say a particular that actually get registered, maybe going to have the ID of 2, and then maybe the name is actually that of the John that we actually created. So John, now when John is being created, it's going to be given his own table to actually do some of his stuff. So it's going to be, let's give it. So you see that John now has his own table of content of that of the post that actually post his content. But I hope you are getting the idea what's actually happening here. That is what the power of this foreign key to actually sign a particular user can have multiple posts. This is more like one-to-many field. They also have that of one-to-one field and that of the foreign key. So you can see this is just basically ideology of what's actually happening here. This is a separate table that is being assigned to this of the Ezee keys, and that of the Ezee key must have that of the ID. So that of John can just, if I can copy this, I thought I copied everything information that is there and just paste it down here and just change it to that of the John. So that was so this is what I did is to actually have the idea of what is actually happening when we on this of our posts, on this of our models.py, on this of the foreign key guide that is actually here. So remember the next one to this is actually that of the Django command. So we can get this, look at some of the commands that we can actually run these are the build of PY and natural we can actually run actually need to do a whole lot of other things. So we can actually run is to actually import this of the models that we actually have. Models that we actually, let's go to our models. These are models. We're going to import it and then make use of it. So to do this, we're going to say from our blog page, blog underscore page, call this blog. So before that, we're going to make use of a Django subcommand, which is actually Python. It's actually so Python manage the py shell. Simple as that. Now I'm going to hit enter. It's going to provide us with a shell that we can actually make use of. So we can say from this of the our blog page, blog underscore what page dot models. This is the models file. Remember the blog page, that's the name of the app, and then the folder, the app folder name, and the models from blog page or models. We need to import that of the post. Simple as that. We have imported that of the post successfully. So next I want us to do is actually to import this of the user that we have here. So let me get from this user. Let me widen this back again. So you can most times to type this Django.contrib.all the models the import can be really stressful. So we can see that we did everything successfully without any problem. So the first thing we want to do is actually to get registered users on our website. So I'm going to say that of the user, which is the big user that was objects dot what or this objects dot or is going to get all the registered users on our site. You can see the query set users, you can see the Ezee kit user John. This is more like a list. You can see this guy, this is a list. So you can actually indent or again or actually look through it. You can actually get it by indexing each of the particular users. So let me just actually store this in a particular variable. Is going to be user, small user is going to be our user dot objects dot what or this is how simple this was actually to get. So I've actually installed I've actually set it to a particular area. So then we can make use of this small user that actually is variable user make use of is actually that of small capital letter U. We need you to perform a whole lot of query that Django tend to prepare for. Let's say we want to get that of the first. So we can say our this of the small user web dot what objects dot what first. Simple as that. Quest has no attribute object. Quest says so it's going to be user dot first. Hope that's I tend to forget some of all these commands. So yeah, that is it. First, this first was the first guy that actually appeared there. So in case you are not interested in that of getting that of the first, you may be actually getting that of second. The best thing I advise most people to actually make use of this indexing. You can say index 0 to actually get the first guy, which is answering to the Ezee keys. So you actually make that of the 1 to actually get that of the John. You can see how this was actually simple to actually get. So you can actually do for that of user dot what filter. So in case if you're interested in filtering it by maybe you want to use username. Now, in case let's say you want to use this username, I think username was actually something that had to do with John. Remember, this username was actually the version we actually created. When we created that of the super user, we need to actually specify that of user. And if you create a new proof, you need to actually give it that of the username. So in our username, let's none of username. Let's say we want to get this by this of the John. So we can say our John. Simple. So let's actually hit enter. You can see that query set user John. You can see how simple that was actually to get. We also get information by making use of that of the ID. So we can also say that of the user dot get. You can get that by that of the ID. Remember that this is as ID1, like I explained, and John can be that of the ID2. Like for example, this is actually not how it's going to be presented. It may be there's other user that I created that got created before this of Ezee keys and John. So but that's why this is actually basically a simple idea. You can see that of the John or that of the ID2. That's actually what just in getting that of the John. So let's actually close this. You can see user dot get ID by ID equals to 2, and that also display John for. So I think I actually covered the whole lot of command that can actually run by this of the user. So let's actually make use of that of the post model that we actually created. So I'm going to say post they are basically have almost the same command. Objects dot what, or remember that we actually created a particular post by this, we make use of this of the Ezee keys 2027 as the author. And if we can run our server, we can actually see that actually be created, how we saw in our previous video. So we're going to get one particular post that actually be created. So we can hit enter, can see this of the we said post Ezee keys first title on admin panel. So if you can go back, if you didn't know when we created this, so just make sure to actually go back a little bit to actually go back to actually understand how we're able to create this on our admin panel. So you can see that I've actually this is the only post that exists. You can see that since we have actually set this in our models of people, we will set this to that of the title. So the title, whenever we want to run information, is going to be displaying that of the title. And like how I explained, if you change this to content, the content is what's going to be showed here. But content can be a really bad idea. If your content is thousands of pages, I think this page is going to be filled up only just to show you the person that maybe they have the content. No, in default, Django tend to provide kind of gibberish that we don't even tend to understand, but we can set this to our title, can set it to something that you want to actually some command by making use of this of our post model that we actually have. So since our post.or is being set to we get only this post. So if I just say post.or, so let me just let me create a variable p, let's set it to this of the post that we actually have post.or. Let me just set it to variable p. So it's going to actually do this. So let me actually hit enter. So we can say p dot what first to actually run some of the same command that we actually run for this of the user model. You can see that the first content was this. So we also do a p, which is talking about this p in the 0. Just to actually make that of the making use of that of the what is it called list list functionality. So we can also p.0 talking about the first post, which is only the post that we have here. I want to actually do the what content, actually get the content I put them, because right now we don't actually know that of the content, only the title that will be shown. So the content Ezee kit first content admin panel, that was the content that was actually on it. So let's actually see that of the date underscore what posted. Remember all this information we actually said. This date posted is going to be auto generated. So we'll also look at the author too. So while my terminal working will just vanish all of a sudden. So I don't know the reason for that. So let's actually run this and manage the PY again. So we're going to use that of the Python shell again. So I'm going to import the things we'll be working with. So let me just go back. I wonder why the terminal I'm working with just vanished. So we can say from our what blog underscore what page dot models import what we want to import. We want to import that of the post, and for that of the this of the models, we need to actually import this of the user, not the user like how we were doing earlier. So let me just actually hit enter and then import this user. Remember that the place we are currently was that of the p, we said that of the post. We are actually looking at that post dot what object dot or I've actually look at that of the first, I'll actually look at that of the content. Also do for that of p dot what title. So it's going to be, because when you do post, it's going to give you a list. So you can't just query a particular list. You need to actually specify the post that you want to actually query. You can say dot what. Also run that of the dot title. Even though the title was one that actually existed here, remember that we also run that of p dot what content. That will be the content. This is Ezee kit first content admin panel. So also run that of the date underscore was posted. You can see the date date time 2025 8/31 5 blah blah blah, a whole lot of other things. So you can also tend to see the author that actually created that of the post. So you can see that author, simple as that. You can see Ezee keys 2020. I remember all these variables that are actually calling the list of the title, content, date, posted, author must actually match the variable you gave on this of your models. If they don't match, I don't think it's going to work out really well on your case. So The next thing we want to actually do is actually to learn how to create our own post, because I think that's actually going to make sense. So for us to actually create our own post, we're going to make use of this post. So let me just create a variable, a little bit of small letter. I'm going to say post. Sorry, it's going to be capital P, post. So remember that in our situation, in our scenario here, when we want to create a post must have what is called an author. So you can just copy it, paste it here. She's going to be an author, the one who is going to be the author. So before that, let's actually make use of this of the user to actually see. Let me just say user. Let's actually get the author that I want to actually get. So it's going to be our user, the what objects or what or. So I run it and then not the right type. Dot objects going to be objects the what or user gets information concerning our users. So let's actually go up a little bit. Let me drag this up a little bit. So we can set our users. So let's want to create a post, we make use of this of the John guy that we have. So I can set our user to be that of the user is going to be okay. So now that we can actually, when we do index 1, it's going to give us John. So remember that anytime you're actually creating a post, you must have that is called an author. So let's actually make use of that of the post again. So we can say our post is going to be the post model. So we're going to set our author. So if you want to mess up, you don't want to get an error, you can just directly copy that of the each of the variables, so you can get them mistaken. So we can set it to that of the user index what 1. So we want to create a post with John. So the second one was that of the title. We can say John CLI, can say first title, and then second one is the third one was that of the content. That's content. So we can say that of the content to be that of the maybe, and just copy this to be similar. So it's going to be John CLI first content. So let me just type down. So going to be content is going to be set to John CLI first content. Simple as that. So I think that's really the date process is going to be auto generated by itself. So I think that is it. So we're going to